Here we go, ready to roll on a Saturday morning. Thanks to our friends at Insperity. Visit Insperity.com for powerful HR solution with exceptional follow through. You can also get your questions in via Twitter at ESPN 97.5. We are at the halfway point of the 124th U.S. Open at Pinehurst. Number 2 has been an outstanding test so far this week. 5 over was the cut line, and 24-year-old Ludvig Åberg of Sweden leads the way in his first U.S. Open at 5 under par with some huge names within four shots of the lead. Great to be alongside two-time U.S. Open participant Charlie Epps. Charlie, what a weekend ahead at number 2.
Number 2 is shining. I mean, it is really since Ben Crenshaw and Coore surfaced it with grass and opened the fairways. It's a quintessential U.S. Open golf course because it gives you a chance to hit the second shot. You're not really penalized with horrible rough. You're going to, and the fairways are wide. So now they have to have discipline. And like you said this morning when you came in, of how many guys end up just going for the pin and they really pay for it.
I'm shocked going into this week. We've heard countless players talk about the patience they're going to display, middle of the greens. If you miss fairways and the little gorge bushes in the sand, you lay up. But that's not the case. You get out there and the ego can get the best of you, Charlie. You said Donald Ross. This is a great Ross design, 1907, and then Crenshaw and Coore came in here in 2011, put the Bermuda grass back in. But how do these 1907 courses, consistently stand the test of time? Only 5 under leading through the halfway point of the weekend, Charlie.
Well, the conditions are such that the green complexes are inverted. They're playing to the top of the hill, and it keeps running back down into odd places. Most greens are sloped from back to front. You get to spin the ball. You can control the trajectory of the ball and so on and so forth. But these are sandy greens with no water. And now they can get them up to speeds that are just not ridiculous, but 13, 14. And then if they have the incline and you hit it in the wrong spot, you're 50 yards from your hole. So it's so
like
much
Tiger
fun to
said,
watch.
Go ahead, Charlie.
No, go ahead.
Like Tiger said, they just start playing ping pong.
Yeah.
After that,
Yeah.
Back and forth, and it's one of those feelings in golf where you're kind of going, "Is this hole ever going to end?
Is this fair?" But the modern day golfer and the professional golfer, they're not whiners. They accept the conditions and they play them. And I admire them for that. And you watch Rory, you watch Jordan, you watch all of the greats, and they're getting some embarrassed by some of the things that they have to do in chipping and then re-chip. But it's fun. I've enjoyed it, and it's going to be a great weekend.
Yeah, Bryson DeChambeau, Patrick Cantlay, Rory McIlroy, Tony Finau, Hideki Matsuyama, Tom Kim, and PGA champion Xander Schauffele, all within 4 shots of the lead. Let's start with our leader, Charlie, Ludvig Åberg. A year ago this week, Åberg was making his professional debut. And since then, he's won on the PGA Tour. He's won on the DP World Tour, made the European Ryder Cup team, and he finished second at the Masters. This is a Swede with an incredible amount of discipline at just 24. I think you've got that magazine held up. I think a lot of golf fans were asking about a year ago, when the PGA Tour lost Jon Rahm, the PGA Tour lost Dustin Johnson. Where what is the PGA Tour going to do? And that magazine that Charlie just held up, that is full with all the answers. You've got 6, 7 guys of 24 or younger who are about to come make a splash on the PGA Tour. It's very impressive.
And they're really this young man was playing for Texas
Tech.
and to see him play golf today, just a year or so out of college, it's really a magnificent display of patience and talent and self-control.
And I think something needs to be said for the PGA Tour University program which allowed Ludwig Oberg to take advantage of his good college play and get immediate status on the PGA Tour. Now, a year later, he's a top 10 player in the world. Let's hear some audio from Oberg after round 2.
Felt like I hit it very nicely. It takes away a lot of the press and stress that Piners can cause you otherwise, but felt like we managed it very well today, executed obviously very well, and me and Joe, my caddy, we had a lot of good conversations about not necessarily going at the pin and making sure that if you do miss it, you're in an easier spot chipping. It's not going to be easy no matter where you are, but at least a doable up and down.
Charlie, this is Oberg's first U.S. Open. We haven't seen a first-timer win the U.S. Open since 1913. Francis, we met. Why?
Because it's so difficult coming out of college. You think, these guys are playing against the veterans of the PGA Tour that have 20 years experience. But this young man has come in and shown that he is ready for the task. He finished second at the Masters. That was his first major.
That was incredible.
He's on a run right now, and you look at his golf swing. His golf swing is excellent. And one of the things that he gained from playing golf in West Texas at University of Texas Tech was he had to learn how to maneuver the golf ball from left to right and high and low. And this golf course, you have to maneuver the golf ball. It's just kind of like a regatta. You're going against the wind. You got to know where to start the ball, where you want it to bounce, how much the ball is going to roll out. Scientifically, this is a great test for the best in the world.
One thing I noticed from the Oberg and DeChambeau presser, once again, Ludwig Oberg and Bryson DeChambeau will be the last pairing out at 3:35 p.m. They're hitting towards the middle of the greens with their approach shots, even with wedges. I mean, you're seeing even side 120 yards. They are still aiming to the middle of the green. What can the viewer at home learn from that?
Discipline, but the short game from 100 yards in is so important, and you got to be able to hit a pitching wedge. A pitching wedge, everybody's trying to do everything with a 60-degree wedge. That's horse hockey. You got, get a de-lofted club, use the bounce or use the leading edge, know how to put the shaft in the right position so that when you return to impact, the club is where you want it, the ball goes out the way you want it, so when it hits, it does what you want. So those combinations, you're in control. You're driving the golf ball, and that's just like driving a car. You got your directions you got to go. You got to go against your instincts, and that's hard to do. And so it's been, once again, I'm really enjoying this.
Charlie, when you talk about taking a little bit off a 9-iron or a pitching wedge instead of going out a full 60-degree, how do you not allow your hands and your small muscles to get active and you allow those bigger muscles to work over more of a half shot?
Well, when you're inside 40 years, your eye-hand coordination is still pretty sharp. I mean, although there's not too many older people today, you can see Tiger is having his trouble getting the ball to go in the hole. He's making good putts, but he didn't make the cut.
Yeah.
But these young guys, they've been disciplined to practice, and they're out in the similar conditions in West Texas as a sandy bottom to the golf courses. So you learn to control the angle of the attack. That you hear the word steep. What they're referring to is as the club's coming into the ball, it's coming in at a steep angle. It's just kind of like if you're flying an airplane, you're in a nosedive. Wow. You got that club face looking down at the ball, and so you hit the ball first, ground second. Because in that sand, if you hit the sand first, the ball's not going to go anywhere.
It's how about around the greens, Charlie? You hit a little bit behind into the grain and these Bermuda fringes.
Yeah, that's why they're putting a lot. They're chipping with the club face closed, and it's the first bounce is the key. And you could see yesterday on the 9th hole, Tiger and 2 or 3 other guys hit it long. Dustin Johnson, and they playing ping pong. The ball went up and came back, and the year John Daly played here, he did that on one hole, and he just walked up and played hockey. He hit the ball, and that was it for John Daly. But here's that amateur. I love him.
Yeah, Neil Shipley out of Ohio State. Great talent. Jack Nicklaus sponsoring him. You don't see Nicklaus companies sponsor many players. Neil Shipley is that good. Charlie, you mentioned Tiger 74-73 heading home early this weekend. Tiger said at the beginning of the week that he didn't think that Donald Ross designed the greens at Pinehurst to be running 13s. It wasn't a complaint, but he was just acknowledging that. And he proceeded to miss the cut. After firing 7 over through 2 rounds, Tiger hit a ton of good shots. He looked to be walking with no problems. The humidity and easy walk around Pinehurst probably helped. But Tiger gave the fans something to worry about after giving us a little teaser that there is a chance Pinehurst was Tiger's last U.S. Open.
Well, it's one of those things where in order to win a golf tournament, you have to make the cut. I can't win the tournament from where I'm at, so it's certainly is frustrating. I thought I played well enough to be up there in contention. It just didn't work out. As far as my last Open Championship or U.S. Open Championship, I don't know what that is. It may or may not be.
That is tough to hear, Charlie. Those are some negative words.
No, it's reality. You got to be realistic with the existing conditions. He's 48 years old that has put his body through an extreme amount of damage with automobile wrecks and so on and so forth. So there's no way he can experience a good tournament because of his body just won't cooperate, and his focus is different. But he gave it one hell of a try.
He sure did. He looked great the last 2 days, hit a lot of good shots, walked well. And that's why I'm excited to see the future for Tiger. I was surprised that he even gave it some thought that this could be it as far as U.S. Opens are concerned. Tiger was in a meeting with the PGA Tour and the PIF earlier this week, and what we're hearing is part of the agreement with the PGA Tour and the PIF is that Tiger's going to have to be exempt to all signature events. So, if he's already considering not playing one of the 4 majors, what's he doing trying to get into every signature event? Maybe he just wants to make sure he has a place in his tournament at Riviera, Charlie. But he looked great walking. He looks healthy.
Well, we know he's not healthy, but he worked hard.
Yeah.
I mean, he's such a competitor. He proved that the first time he won his first U.S. Junior Championship.
Yeah.
Won 3 of those in a row, and then he won 3 amateur.
Yeah.
So I mean,
9-time USGA champion.
He is who he is, and but now the youngsters that learn how to become great golfers because they copied him, he can't beat them.
No. They're driving it a mile past him, Charlie.
Yeah.
But Tiger received the Bobby Jones Award this year. He is an unbelievable USGA champion, U.S. Amateurs, U.S. Opens, you name it. I'm sure he'll go win a couple U.S. Senior Opens as well. Ludwig Oberg leads the way at Pinehurst number 2. Bryson DeChambeau is in second at 4 under alongside Thomas Dietrich and Patrick Cantlay. This is the Charlie Epps Golf Hour. When we come back, we'll talk more about Scotty Scheffler making the cut on the number. We'll be back after this.
You're listening to the Charlie Epps Golf Hour on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Powered by Insperity.
From the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Will Doctor and the Golf Doctor himself, Charlie Epps.
And thanks to Insperity, we get to bring you the latest as far as the world of golf each and every Saturday. Visit Insperity.com for powerful HR solution with exceptional fall-through. Charlie, how about a couple more words for our friends over at Insperity?
Well, more importantly, I'm talking to the small business owner in our country, and they are the people, and those businesses drive our economy. And they're the hard-working Americans, whether it's own a pizza shop or you have 6 pizza shops or whatever. If you want somebody that can help you improve your bottom line and let you do your thing with your business and just have a successful year, HR is very important. How you treat your employees is so important today. They're the ones that are going to drive the success of your business. And so you got to take care of them. You got to have health care. You got to have all the benefits. And Insperity is a company that can help you get that. If you're a small business, they can negotiate a great price for your health care, so on and so forth. So if you want to have a great year and a great future, let me recommend somebody that you might consider. Insperity.com. Their history in their business is incredible. They've risen to number one. I mean, it's such a great story. Since 1986, 0 to 8 billion. I mean, because they know how to treat people. So consider giving them a call. Have help for your HR, but more importantly, your human resources are what it's all about. Insperity.com.
World number one is going to tee off here at 10:01 Eastern. He will tee off alongside Cameron Young. Scheffler went 71-74. He is 5 over through 36 holes, and he'll start the weekend 10 back of Ludwig Oberg. So Charlie, Scheffler was the biggest favorite coming into a major since Tiger going into the 09 PGA. Pinehurst number 2 threw a few punches at Scheffler over the first 2 rounds. How would you grade him?
He was exhausted. Look at what he's done for the last 10 weeks. And he just won Jack's tournament. He was arrested at the PGA. I mean, all sorts of things drive your life. And so when he came into this, he wasn't rested. He wasn't, I don't think, sharp like he should have been. And it showed in some of the shots that he made. And so I'm happy he made the cut. But Tiger, think about this. He won all 4 majors in 1 year.
Yeah.
And he had that chutzpah, if you want to say, that he could really rise to the occasion. Well, Scotty's going to learn from this. Yeah. And he's going to, he could have a backdoor top 10 finish.
Are you still in this tournament? 5 over 10 back, but it is a U.S. Open.
Yeah.
If anyone could do it, maybe Scheffler.
I think if he can maybe finish in the top 10.
Yeah.
But Cantlay's personality is really good for this Open Championship, and he's going to be hard to beat this weekend.
Yeah, he Patrick grinded out a pretty tough round yesterday. You look at Cantlay's on 65-71. He missed a fair share of fairways yesterday. Took his medicine every time he did. Put the ball back in play and made bogey at worst. That was Martin Keimer's recipe for success in 2014. Same with Michael Campbell, and same with Payne Stewart. Charlie, one more question. We're going to get to Payne Stewart later on. Even though the first 2 rounds, of the U.S. Open didn't go Scotty's way, he's still at 5 wins on the season. He's got about 7 tournaments left. Okay, he's going to have one more major after this, which is the British Open. We'll see Scotty next week at the Travelers, which is his signature event. We'll see him at the Scottish and the British in mid-July. Then he's got the Olympics in Paris and 3 FedEx Cup events.
What a calendar. I mean, it's great, but he's got to take care of himself, and which he does. There's no doubt about that. But,
Charlie, can he get to 9 wins?
Can he? Sure.
He's at 5. He's got 7 events left.
He's strong kid, 6'3", but having the excitement of having a baby in the family now and all that kind of stuff, it's going to get hard. I just worry about his conditioning. As he matures in the game of golf, 2 or 3 years from now, he's going to be at his strongest. Right now he's still, man. I wonder if he checks his checkbook every morning. Huh?
Charlie, you got a haircut going into this year after playing spectacular. Do you subscribe to that kind of thing? You shouldn't shave the beard, shouldn't, maybe cut the hair too much if you're playing this well.
I even got a haircut.
There you go.
But no, superstition is involved in the game, in sport, by many people. Some people really don't give a darn.
Yeah.
But sometimes, Jack Nicklaus would wear the same underwear, So, you never know.
Jason Kelsey, I don't think Jason Kelsey, Travis's brother, he just retired from the Eagles. He wouldn't wash his underwear for the whole season. He said that on his podcast. That is crazy. But as far as the greatest modern seasons of all time, Charlie, obviously no one's going to get to Byron Nelson's 18 win in a season record. These guys only have to play 16 events per season, but and getting matching Tiger's 2000 season doesn't look possible for Scheffler now, since Tiger won 3 majors in the golf season, 4 majors in the calendar season. But I'm invested in the Olympics this year. I think if Scotty can get to 9 PGA Tour wins and a gold medal at La National, I think that would be one of the greatest modern seasons ever.
Oh, yes, I agree with you 100%. Anything he adds to what he's already done, he's going to he's one of the great stories of golf in the last 25 years, and especially getting arrested. He's had it all.
Yeah.
So, but this weekend is going to be full of excitement. I think the telecasts are great. I think the announcers are being very fair. But, like they said, some of the times they're missing their fairways because they're trying to make it too fine. Just go for the middle of the fairway and then make your decision from there.
Yeah, we're going to talk about a little later on the guy who's one shot back, Bryson DeChambeau. He was talking at the beginning of this week about taking some irons off the tee. You don't need driver off every tee box.
Right.
What can the viewer at home learn from that?
Well, that they have to get better with their hybrids, and that on short par fours, just aim for the 150-yard mark in the fairway and go from there. You don't have to hit a drive 270, 280 a lot of times. You can get it by the 150 and then get good at your 7-8 iron into the into the green, and you can have more opportunities for birdies, but you're not going to make that many double bogeys if you do that. Middle of the green, middle of the fairway.
Isn't it amazing how a year and a half ago we were hearing Bryson DeChambeau talk about how driving distance is all that matters, and driving distance is what's going to get him in contention. He's matured so much this year. To hear him talk about how taking some 6 irons, taking some 5 irons off the tee, that impressed me, and he stuck to his game plan through 2 rounds, which is why he's in second place.
He's the modern day Mickelson. I felt sorry for Mickelson. I think he's a non-entity in golf and right now, and he's lost his way for many different reasons. But DeChambeau is a kid that just loves to tinker with golf clubs, to tinker with his golf swing, has a great mind. So he's fun to watch. There is Bruce Koepka. Brooks, excuse me.
Brooksy.
He's a little too aggressive, and that only led for him to he missed a cut, didn't he?
Brooks Koepka's playing the weekend. He shot 5 over. He made the cut on the number alongside Scotty Scheffler, but he was pissed off out there yesterday. Pinehurst has handed Brooks a couple licks, and he was in this tournament early through round one. Did not have a good Friday round. Koepka, body language, not great at Live Houston last week. I was surprised he wasn't getting a little more juiced up for an epic venue like Pinehurst.
Epic.
Let's talk about, we mentioned the Olympics, Charlie. I wish Bryson DeChambeau was in the hunt for Team USA for the Olympics. He's 38th on that list. He will not get one of those 4 American spots since he can't get official world golf ranking points outside of playing in majors. Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, Wyndham Clark, and Colin Morikawa are the 4 players looking like they're going to make the American Olympic team. Patrick Cantlay is 1 spot out, and qualifying ends next week. So anything could happen with the U.S. He's in contention at the U.S. Open. We've got another elevated event next week. I'm fired up to keep a track on the Olympics, Charlie.
Oh, I agree with you. I love the Olympics. I like the 100 meters champion.
Yep.
I mean, the pole vault. I mean, everything that has to do with the swimming. Are you kidding me? I went to Foothill Junior College, and when I got there in 1963, they had the Olympic training at Foothill.
You go try out?
No, I just went and watched. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I knew how to swim, but these athletes, even back then, were incredible.
They're human fishes,
yeah,
Charlie.
Fish, and then you watch them play polo, water polo. You can't. That is the most dangerous. I mean, they're
beating the crap out of each other under that water.
Oh my God, underwater, forget about it.
Spaniard David Puig was a final qualifier at the California location a couple weeks ago for the U.S. Open. Puig, he's a second-year pro out of Arizona State, followed fellow countryman John Rahm to Arizona State, and now Puig plays his pro golf on Live, and since he doesn't get official world golf ranking points, Puig had to go earn his way into this field via gritty local and sectional qualifying. That's exactly what he did. Made it through in Carson City, California, and by making the cut at the U.S. Open this week, Puig earned his spot on Spain's Olympic team. Let's hear his reaction to that after yesterday's round.
It was a goal since the beginning of this week. Obviously, I wasn't thinking of making the cut before I played my first round, right? But after having a tough day yesterday, it was for sure the mindset going into today. Just tried to put a good score, and a score that was going to be enough, to play the weekend and obviously make the Olympics. So very proud of that. So yeah, just looking forward to the week and try to win a gold medal for Spain.
76-68 to make your Olympic team.
That's terrific. And my hat's off to him. And in Spain, would have had a hell of a team if John Rahm. I'm not sure
he made
about
it. He's number 1.
Yeah, but how about this injury?
Wow.
I mean, that's really, he had an operation as a young man to correct a couple of problems, and you can see now that we saw him at Houston.
Had to withdraw.
One leg is better than the other. His left leg is real nice and strong. His right leg is so he revealed something that I had no idea that he had that kind of problem when he was a young boy.
Yeah. He had the duck feet when he was born and had that surgically fixed. And this week had to withdraw. He withdrew from Live Houston last week and the U.S. Open this week with a lesion right next to his pinky toe in his right foot. So we'll keep an eye on that. But David Puig set to play for Team Spain alongside John Rahm in the Olympics. Jorge Campillo would be the third guy. So if Rahm withdraws, Campillo's in. Also, a lot to keep track on with the Canadian Olympic team this week. Corey Connors and Taylor Pendrith are both contending at the U.S. Open. And they are 2 players on the outside looking in as far as males are concerned for Canadian representation in Paris. Nick Taylor and Adam Hadwin are the 2 that would go if qualifying ended today, but that could change if Connors and Pendrith play well over the next 2 weeks. Ludwig Oberg leads the way at the U.S. Open. We'll be right back here on the Charlie Epps Golf Hour.
This is the Charlie Epps Golf Hour on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Powered by Insperity.
Now from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Will Doctor and the Golf Doctor himself, Charlie Epps.
Pinehurst has produced a ton of memorable winners over the years. I don't think anything is going to top Payne Stewart's win at the 1999 U.S. Open.
My daughter finishing runner-up in the North-South Amateur Championships, higher on my list.
Is it? That had to have been a couple years of that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Of 99. Well, we got to figure out what year Mimi won. Was it Mimi or Nona?
Mimi.
We got to figure out what year Mimi won the North-South Amateur.
She got beat in the finals.
Finished second. It's one of the best. The North-South Amateur at Pinehurst is one of the best amateur events on the schedule.
And my little Mimi went over there, and she gets to the finals, and I call her, and I said, well, Mimi, I'm going to come over. She said, Dad, I got this. I can handle this. You just stay right
Stay
there.
away, Dad.
But and she led after, it's 36-hole final. But I'm sorry I'm talking about my daughter, but what the heck. I'm so proud of her.
It's a very important. We've found out this week that all these winners, all the male winners of the North-South within the last 4 or 5 years, they're in the field this week.
Yeah.
It is quite the preview for what's to come in USGA championships. Charlie, between you playing in U.S. Opens and having that little bit of experience watching an elite level tournament at Pinehurst, what are your thoughts on this tournament through 2 rounds for those just joining us?
I just think the weekend is going to be fun, and I mean the lead can evaporate so quickly because of the conditions of the golf course. You make one little bad chip and hit it 3 yards too far, and you're hitting another chip from 60 yards. So the conditions are really going to get a little harder because there's no rain in sight, and they're even probably just dusting the greens with water to keep them alive. But it's going to be a glorious weekend, and everybody record it because then you can go back and you can see the shape of the swings, the shape, how long their chip swing is, how long their bunker swings are. That's Jim Flick always taught me. You want to control the amount and shape of the swing, and you can do that by having a visually picture in your mind. And so take and record this championship, and then play it back, and you can take some pictures, and you can improve your swing just by visualization.
It's amazing how you can go back and watch all the U.S. Opens at Pinehurst. They're all on replay on YouTube. I think the broadcast has done I think the commentators have done an A+ 100 job this week. It's been on USA. Friday morning was on Peacock. You had a little bit of the streaming. Charlie, you came in and said you had no problem with the Peacock.
No.
I would still like all 4 rounds to be on cable.
Oh, well, sure. I want the commentaries. Watching the special groups are good, but I wanted to hear Brandon Chambly more and have his view of the championship.
Brandel's been world class on the commentary. Everyone wants to complain about Brandel. All the Twitter talking heads want to get on and say a couple words about Brandel, but I implore them to tell me one thing he said that is not correct.
That's right. He does his homework.
Yeah. So broadcast check. I think that's been very good. I haven't had any issue with the Peacock, and once again, most of this you can get on USA, and then, like you just said, I want to see the big time. I want to see Mike Tirico call it on NBC. Charlie, one thing, I went back. Not only did I watch the 99 U.S. Open this week, I went back and I read The Last Stand of Payne Stewart, which is by Kevin Robbins, a brilliant communications teacher at the University of Texas. And Robbins takes you through Payne's 99 season. He hadn't won in 4 years going into the 99 season. Payne won Pebble early on that year, heartbreaking playoff loss at the RBC Heritage, and then won at number 2. But Charlie, one thing that Robbins discusses is how Payne really matured in that year in 1999. It's amazing that 25 years later, the word discipline remains a theme for these leaders.
Well, Payne found the Lord. He was an active young man prior to that, and doing some stuff he probably shouldn't have been doing, and living high on the hog. And then all of a sudden he found out what was important, how important his family was. I mean, there's great pictures of him kissing his young daughter and his wife, and I was so proud of him because we all liked Payne Stewart. He was the Jimmy DeMeritt of the 2000s, and so when he got his stuff together, he really blossomed, and he won his championship. And then unfortunately he died of such an incredible accident. I mean, getting in an airplane and you're up at about 30,000 feet and you lose compression, and you drown. You can't breathe, and the plane flew for 2 hours further north and finally crashed in a cornfield up in Nebraska,
North Dakota. Yeah.
and it was just such a tragedy. And then they had a beautiful ceremony for him, and all the pros went,
And that was in Houston, right?
Yes.
Leading into the tour championship at Champions.
Yes. Well, no, but the funeral, or his honoring his life, was in Orlando.
Okay.
But I believe, but it became, he's a legend. I mean, and he did things in a different light once he found his way. So his wife was such a strong lady that to take care of her children since then, and they both were at the championship, and they both spoke, and it was really quite a scene. I enjoyed that.
We miss him. I wish I could get to watch him in the modern day. I wish he was out on Champions Tour right now. See, Pinehurst number 2 does a great job acknowledging Payne with that great statue out front. The PGA Tour does the same with the Payne Stewart Award, honoring pretty much the best man of the year as far as the PGA Tour is concerned. Charlie, before we get into, to me, the player that most models Payne this week, one more note on the 99 U.S. Open. Everyone was hitting at about 255 off the tee, coming into these greens with 4 and 5 irons. It was a grind out there.
Yeah.
If you think this year is hard, you should go watch the 99 U.S. Open. I didn't see one come into a green with a wedge in their hand. The ball. The ball in the situation, sure, and the equipment and all that has evolved. Now we have the great Bryson DeChambeau. He changed the idea of driving for show. I mean, he driving for real. I mean, he's hitting drives that are 100 yards longer than a lot of guys, and his imagination and his desire to find through equipment, through knowledge is just second to none. I love this happy medium that he's found. It's between touch, finesse, and power.
Yes.
We're out of time in this segment. Stick around. We'll hear more from Bryson and Rory McIlroy. Let's not sleep on Rory. He's only 2 back heading into the weekend. A lot to do. One more segment to go. This is the Charlie Epps Golf Hour presented by Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
The Charlie Epps Golf Hour, powered by Insperity, continues
On ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
from the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Will Doctor and Charlie Epps.
Here we go. Weekend at the U.S. Open. Ludwig Oberg and Bryson DeChambeau. They're off at 3:35. NBC Sports with Mike Tirico. I can't wait. I'm fired up, Charlie. Let's go. 5 under leading the way in a PGA Tour event. We never see that. I think, my pick for this weekend, I have Oberg to top 10, but I'm going to stick with Bryson DeChambeau. I've been saying it for the last 4 weeks. After that second-place finish at Valhalla, I really like his chances of winning here at Pinehurst this weekend. And one reason that I really like Bryson is how he's channeling his inner Payne Stewart. He talked about him yesterday after the round. Let's hear a little bit of that audio on Bryson talking about Payne.
He's the reason I went to SMU first off. I'll never forget walking into the SMU athletic department. Funny enough, I actually didn't know he went there, and I wore the hat as a bit of a tribute to Payne and Ben Hogan growing up. Big Ben Hogan fanatic, knowing what Payne meant to the game of golf, also a Payne Stewart fan. When I went to SMU in the athletic department, on the wall, I saw a mural of him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he went to SMU. And they're like, yeah, didn't you know that? I was like, no, I didn't know he went here. And that was probably the moment I decided to go to SMU, when I saw that mural on the wall. So he's meant a lot to me in the game. And as I played on the PGA Tour, my first win was, I believe, his first win, which was the John Deere. And it was a different tournament back then, but it meant a lot to me to win there. And then the last thing, too, is we have the cap on my bag this week in remembrance of him. So the cap's hanging on the side of the bag, and it's with me and makes me think of him every time I'm walking on these grounds.
Wonder if fate is going to bring Bryson to the top this weekend for his second U.S. Open.
He has a chance. I mean, he's in position. He has a golf game that is really unique. He's revolutionized how you can approach driving the golf ball. He's modified his irons to suit his speed. So it's a really a great story in sport, what he's been able to achieve in a very short period of time. So yes, but I like Cantlay. I think he has the mental toughness to play 36 holes more and get more out of it. Although Rory has really shown his moxie, and he hung in there. And, the first day the round was no bogeys in the afternoon. That was probably the round of the tournament for me. And then he had some problems second day.
Rory 2 over yesterday. I know the leader is just at 5 under, but it seems like that Friday, a couple over par round from Rory is something we see quite a bit. And then, today we'll see maybe 1 or 2 under, and then we always get this Sunday 64 where he misses out on the lead by 1 or 2 shots. Do you think that 2 over yesterday is going to hurt him, or that's an okay score for this week's U.S. Open?
That's an okay score. You're going to play 72 holes on a course like this. You're going to have a few hickeys or a few mistakes, and he recovered quite well.
We've got some sound from Rory McIlroy after round 2. Once again, he is 2 back heading into the weekend. Let's hear what Rory's got on the plate for this weekend.
Same approach, conservative strategy, hit fairways, hit it into the middles of the greens when you can, and then take your chances from there. Pars are really good. If you can pick off some birdies here and there, that's even better. But yeah, par golf, especially at the weekend at the U.S. Open, is always going to serve you well.
Rory, it's been, here we go again. It has been 11 years since his last major championship, since the PGA at Valhalla in 2014. Does he have, a lot? Once again, you talk about a lot, that guy that's had a lot going on this year. We heard last week that, Rory and his wife are not getting divorced. They're going to work things out. We've heard that he's going to move to, London. We've heard that a lot of the PGA Tour board isn't a big fan of him. This weekend, would you tell someone do you think Rory is there any chance this could be where his 5th major is going to happen?
Sure, it is. Sure. I mean, he's right there. He's had a great season. He's only won once, I believe, but he has been.
Yeah, he won the Wells Fargo. That's it. Yeah, and the Zurich Classic alongside Shane Lowry.
And been here on the weekends and been in contention. So yeah, he's got to be reckoned with.
Yeah. No, listen, he played. I think Rory he did play very well the first day. Did not putt as well yesterday, 2 over. I think that's going to be okay. I think he'll shoot a good round today, put himself in position going into tomorrow. One more piece of audio. I know we want to move on from DeChambeau, but one more piece of audio, Charlie, that the people need to hear. And Bryson, I keep bringing up Payne Stewart in 1999. Bryson has matured so much this year like Payne did in 1999, and that maturity has bled into DeChambeau's game plan this week at Pinehurst, and we got a sense of that before the week started. Here's Bryson on how he's taken down number 2.
Oh, yeah, it stinks hitting a 6-iron off the D compared to a driver, but sometimes you got to do it, and you got to make the right decision for shooting the lowest score out here. There's numerous holes like 3. I'd love to go for that green every single day, and I may go for it. I don't know. You never know with me. Certainly on the tee box, if it's downwind, I'll give it a go probably. But number 3, just hitting a 6-iron out there, or 7, just hitting an iron out there, and playing some very strategic golf. It's certainly something you have to do on this golf course to compete and win.
Right.
So, DeChambeau, once again, I think a lot of people at home could learn from that more conservative approach off the tee. You don't need to wind into a driver every hole. You just heard it from the longest driver on the planet, Bryson DeChambeau.
Well, he's got that bullet in his gun. Not a lot of people have that, and so he's going to be tempted. And temptation on Sunday, when you need it, it might really work out for him. He might make a 2 on a par 4 to change the momentum of his round. But everybody's talking, you better play strategically if you want to finish the golf term correctly.
Charlie, any surprises as far as missed cuts are concerned? You had Victor Hovland miss the cut, Max Homa missed the cut, Justin Rose, we already talked about Tiger. Couple of players, Will Zalatoris, great ball striker who missed the cut. Any of those surprise you? Day, Homa, Zal?
No, when you're playing a golf course like this, everybody is on edge. It can happen anytime, and you make the wrong little chip and pitch, and you turn that par into a double bogey, and then you get on that downward spiral, and it's hard to bounce back. So no. Nobody is a surprise of missing the cut. It can happen to anybody.
You played in 2 U.S. Opens, Charlie.
Yes.
What's your favorite U.S. Open moment in your career?
That's an interesting question. I played in Atlanta Athletic Club in 1976, and I hit this beautiful 9-iron into the 9th hole. Boy, I was posing, and it was a yard too short, and the ball buried. And I made triple.
Second round?
First round.
And
no, second round. But it's, I missed the cut by 1.
Who'd you play your practice rounds with
I played
at
it with
Atlanta?
Arnold Palmer and Gary Player. So, my practice rounds in all my major championships, I played with the best of them because I had that opportunity, and I wasn't afraid to walk up and mind if I join you? Come on, Charlie. How you doing?
That's what you did with the Golden Bear, right?
That's Golden Bear at Denver in
Cherry Hills?
Cherry Hills, 1978. And he went to the tee, and this is 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I said, well, I guarantee if I follow him, he's going to wave me up. So he hit off of number 1, and he was in the middle of the fairway, and I'm standing out there and he waved me up. And it was the start of a great relationship. And we played, 9 holes with 6,000 people following us, that kind of stuff. And we talked about his U.S. Open in 1960. Where he really probably should have won. like Hogan says, I after that I got to have dinner with Hogan and play with him, and he told me, yeah, the fat boy should have won it. So those memories are really still strong in my, because golf is my hobby also, and so you have that luck to have the ability. The USGA runs a major that everybody can get into, and so you set a goal. I'm going to make it, and I did, and so.
And Charlie, that started. That process starts 2 months before people. I don't think people understand what you have to do to qualify.
Oh yeah,
it's 36 hole local, and then 36 in a day at sectional.
Plus, in 1978, my wife was pregnant with her second daughter.
Wow,
Mimi. So we get to the qualifying week, and Mimi hasn't appeared yet, and I go qualify. See, so now I'm driving home from qualifying, and I say, sweetheart, can you call the doctor and see if we can have you induced, and so I can leave? And so she said, sure, I can do that. So sure enough, we had Judy induced, and Mimi was born on Thursday before the U.S. Open. So I left on Sunday to play in the U.S. Open. But I think that's one reason why Mimi turned out also to be a good golfer.
Great golfer.
Yeah.
It was all looped in. What a story, Charlie. And Miss Epps, what a champion.
Yes.
That's about the behind the scenes life of a golfer.
Yep.
And that's what people don't see. Listen, I'm fired up for the U.S. Open this weekend. I can't wait to watch the coverage. Once again, before we wrap up, this is your list of play. Ludwig Oberg and Bryson DeChambeau will be the final pairing. Ludwig is 5 under, Bryson's 4 under. And then these are the players within 4 shots of the lead heading into the weekend at Pinehurst. Patrick Cantlay, Rory McIlroy, Tony Finau, Hideki Matsuyama, Tom Kim, and PGA champion Xander Schauffele. There's a movie underway at Pinehurst. Can't wait to watch it this weekend, Charlie.
I would love to see Tony Finau
for
win.
His first major. You don't
He's
need
such a nice person.
You don't need to be a short game aficionado to win at Pinehurst. Martin Keimer won Pinehurst N14 with the Yips.
Yeah.
That happened. He putted everywhere around the green. So, Tony, another guy with a great chance this weekend. Charlie, appreciate your time today.
Hey, it was a great show. Everybody, watch the U.S. Open, and we'll talk to you next week.